Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching Pedro ECT playing in the Tier 10 German tank destroyer, the Grille 15cm. So today is the 1st of September. Yeah, I had to have a quick look at the clock there, and that's because, yeah, I've been stuck in Azeroth, and you know, when you're playing World of Warcraft again, you certainly do start to lose track of the days of the week. And the reason why 1st of September is important, not only because there's a whole series of mission marathons going on the European server, at least for pretty much the whole of the next month and a half, but that marks 3 months that we've seen, well, 3 complete months that the Grille has been in the game. Towards the end of May, towards the end of May, the WT Alpha 100, that absolutely ridiculous autoloader, was removed, and it was replaced by a tank that, shall we say, is still very good, but maybe not completely overpowered with the stopping power that the WT Alpha 100 had. But look at that shot there on that T57 Heavy. You might be very surprised to see what kind of gun characteristics this vehicle has if you haven't seen one in a replay before or had the pleasure of playing one yourself. And that is a 150mm gun with 1.5 seconds aim time with the best accuracy in the game. 0.27 meters dispersion, I guess that means at 100 meters, right? Absolutely crazy accuracy on this gun. If you miss, you can probably just... If you miss, it's generally down to you. Either that, or you are trying to take very chancy shots at very, very small targets. Because if you hit it, if you aim at big targets in the open, you're generally not going to miss in this. You're not going to have those, oh god, why did the shot not go where I aimed it kind of moments. Because generally, it will do. So far Pedro has put 2 whopping shots into the T57 Heavy. He rolled for 938 on that last shell. Now don't think that that's normal for this gun. The normal aspect of this gun is 750 alpha damage. There we go. Puts in the 3rd shot, killing the entirety of that Tier 10 American auto-loading heavy tank in just 3 shots. And very reliably as well. He didn't really feel like he was taking that many chances, apart from perhaps the first shell that he fired. But it was right for him to not stop. He wanted to get the shot off and get into cover. And that's because while the Grille is ludicrously fast, able to go at 60 kilometers an hour forwards and an impressive 20 kilometers an hour backwards. And trust me, reverse speed is very important, but great shot there on the T54 lightweight. But yeah, the reverse speed is very important on this tank, 20 kilometers an hour, so when you've made the shot, you can get back behind cover to be able to reload with the 3.64 rounds a minute rate of fire that this tank has. Hey, it's not the longest reload in the world, but hell, it's not the shortest, and you definitely want to get yourself into cover. Because the armor on this tank completely sucks, and it's also a very big profile. This might not look it, but it is an exceptionally tall tank, which gives it a horrific camo rating, and as you can see, every time Pedro fires in this game, he is getting spotted. And I expect he has got an exceedingly skilled crew. He seems to love this tank a lot. Look, I think he's put his 5 years of World of Tanks veteran emblem onto the Grille 15. That's a big investment, right? I think you only get one of those, don't you? And so the fact that he's decided to put it on the Grille is pretty cool. 5 years of World of Tanks, I believe, unless I'm completely mistaken. So now Pedro is looking for a shot on this Object 140, who is staying behind the building. Gosh, is he going to come? Is he not going to come? Oh, Pedro thought he was going to come round the corner there. He tries to sneak a shot round, but the Object 140 doesn't. That was immensely frustrating, and I guess the first shot that Pedro has missed this game, but he's already up to 3,000 damage, and that's for 7 penetrating shots, right? Well, make that 3,820 damage as he puts one into the Tier 10 Soviet tank destroyer on the enemy team, the Object 268. Which has also got a very dangerous, shall we say, 150 to 155mm caliber gun. And the reason why I put it in that bracket is because the German tanks have often got 150mm guns, the Soviet tanks have got 152mm guns, and the American tanks have got 155mm guns. But they've all generally got the same penetration and all got the same alpha damage of 750. Oh, this is easy money. Right there into the E100. That was an easy shot if ever there was one, but he does get spotted for it. I'm not sure if he gets spotted by the T110E5 or the E100, but it looks like this T110E5 is under pressure here. He's going to be able to push forwards. Will Pedro find another shot on the E100? No, there's another T110E5 in the open. Will Pedro find the shot? He decides not to fire and instead aims at the other T110E5 coming round the corner. Good one there, finishing him off. And it doesn't actually look like that T110E5 in the middle of the field managed to spot Pedro even. So I'm not sure if that was because of Pedro's camera rating, or maybe the enemy T10 has lost his commander. He is on, I think he was on half health as he went past there. Pedro's second shot into the Object 268 there. And it doesn't matter if you're a tier 10 tank, you can't afford to take 3 shots from this vehicle. Unless, of course, you're the FV215B or the E100 on the enemy team, and then you probably do have enough health to take 3 shots from this fairly reliably. But as we saw, the T57 Heavy didn't do very well with the 3 shots that Pedro put into him. So, Erlenberg, West was completely lost, and again we see the meta of Erlenberg, which is the team that spawns slightly to the northwest, zergs their way down the west of the map, cleans up. The team that spawns slightly over on the east makes their way down the east and cleans up, and then lo and behold we come back to the old Erlenberg meta of east versus west camp-off. But it looks like the enemy team has done a hell of a lot better for it. They are up by 4 tanks right now. Well, should we say maybe 3 1/4 tanks now, as the FV215B loses a lot of his health. But the 5120 shuts down the Type 61, which means that it's probably only 2 3/4 tanks left now, right? Hey guys. But anyway, so Pedro, in this kind of a position, he's just trying to spot out, keep eyes on the middle of the map, and also look for opportunistic shots. The IS-7 is trying to flank his buddy in the E75, and when you've got .27 accuracy, you can afford to engage your opponents at 450 meters, and you would count yourself unlucky if you didn't hit the side of the IS-7 clean. Whereas when you're playing with many other tank destroyers, many of the American tank destroyers, an example, or the larger caliber guns on the Jagdpanzer E100 or on the FV215B 183, yeah, you kind of cross your fingers every time you fire, right, guys? And that's something that you generally don't have to do with the Grille. So that shot into the Object 140 there has put Pedro now over 8,000 damage halfway through this game. Now that's a fantastic result in any regards, but Pedro is not done yet. Pretty much half of the enemy team are still alive for him to be able to take down. And he has got 2 self-propelled guns, as well as support of an E75, although I don't know how long that E75 is going to be lasting for at the front, and a TVP T50/51, who will be a very important tank, hopefully, to be assisting Pedro and to stop the Object 140 or the T10 from flanking him. So far you've seen the strengths of the Grille. The fact that if it manages to control the engagement and tries to get those long, sweeping, open shots on its opponents, then it really does look very dominant, right? With that aim time, 1.5 seconds aim time, although 1.5 seconds aim time would sound completely overpowered on this tank if Wargaming hadn't balanced it out by giving it horrific gun dispersion values. But we don't have time to talk about gun dispersion values right now, as Pedro puts one into the side of the T10 and requests fire. Hopefully his artillery will be able to shut him down. The WT Auf Panzer on the enemy team kills the E75, who was holding the southern flank there over the bridge. Pedro's just looking for the shot. The artillery shuts down the T10, which probably saves Pedro. Well, it definitely saves Pedro the shot, but more importantly, I think it saves Pedro from getting spotted. And with 2 artillery on the enemy team, and the Grille having at its thickest 30mm of frontal hull armor, and the turret armor is 20mm with 14 on the side. If an artillery hits you in this tank, it is generally going to penetrate you unless it hits your tracks, for example. And that can only really spell one thing from guns of such large caliber, and that is a one-shot. However, talking about one-shots, that one shot into the Object 140 there puts Pedro over 9,000 damage. And the Object 268 looks like he was firing a high explosive round there, as it whizzes right over Pedro's head. Lucky for him, because if that high explosive round had hit him, that would be probably about over half, maybe 60 or 70% of his health gone, because I believe the high explosive rounds on the Object 268 do 1,150 damage, or is it 1,100 damage, whereas the lower caliber high explosive rounds on the Grille are only capable of doing 950. Well, I say only 950. Anyway, Pedro shuts down the Object 268, taking his damage total up above 9,500, but he has still got his work cut out for him. There are 3 tanks advancing on his lone artillery. It is now Pedro and that self-propelled gun versus 5 opponents, and Pedro has got his final AP shell left. He hasn't fired any heat so far this game, I don't believe, but now he is going to have to fire heat. But I guess you might be saying, oh, well, why has he taken so many heat rounds? Well, he's done 10,000 damage with his AP rounds. It's not often that you'll have to dip into your heat reserve, hey guys. So, with the shutdown on that WT Auf Panzer, That means Pedro now is in a 1 versus 4. 2 tanks and 2 self-propelled guns. And Pedro is going to use the mobility of this vehicle to, I guess, take the RNG out of the game. Or shall we say, face the RNG early before it takes him out of the game. And so he's going to go hunting after the self-propelled guns, that T92 and the GW Tiger. That tier 10 American self-propelled gun is an absolute beast. That's the biggest gun in the game on any vehicle. And even if he splashes near Pedro, it's likely that he's going to lose 900 health and probably a few modules as well, which is something that he doesn't want to. But talking about losing health or modules, that's something that Pedro hasn't done right, guys. Look at this. He's still got his repair kit. He's still got his med kit. He's using chocolate though, so let's hope that he doesn't get set on fire and have some kind of horrible chocolatey combustion going on inside his tank. That doesn't sound very nice for the crew, does it? But yeah, Pedro has lost 3 hit points, and I think those 3 hit points he lost at the beginning with a slight collision with one of his allies. So the enemy have put their cards on the table right now. Well, shall I say not all their cards, but at least one of their cards, as he is in the cap circle. Oh no, the GW Tiger manages to spot Pedro. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He does spot Pedro as he goes past. Now Pedro has to be worried about where the T92 is going to be. Where's that T92? Where's the T92? Is he going to be up here? Is he going to be over the ridge? But he's only got 45 seconds left to find a shell into the FV215B or the E100. Or, for all we know, the T92. We don't exactly know who is in the cap circle. Looks like Pedro is using coated optics on this tank instead of binoculars, which I think is a very good choice because the base view range on this tank is a healthy 390 meters anyway. So Pedro goes forward, spots the FV215B. Has he been spotted? No, just a heat round onto the front plate. Good shot there, 632 damage into the tier 10 British heavy tank. But oh god, the artillery know where Pedro is. Will the GW Tiger hit him? Get round the corner. Yes, the castle saves him. We see the shell just go into the castle there. Great result for Pedro. That means the GW Tiger is going to be reloading now. I wonder if Pedro is going to take advantage of that. But it looks like he still is worried about the T92. You don't want to give the T92 a clean shot into him, but there he is. There's the T92 who fires first. It looks like it's the 1.5 seconds aim time on the Grille. Shuts down the tier 10 American self-propelled gun. Great result there. Now, will the GW Tiger be reloaded? I'm pretty sure that GW Tiger would have been able to spot Pedro there. What's Pedro going to do? Is he going to flank or is he going to wait for the GW Tiger to advance? Decisions. Does he go left? Does he go right? He decides to go right. He puts himself up. Will he find the shot? Oh no! The hero looks like it hits the gun of the GW Tiger. Is he going to come after him? Remember, Pedro's reload is not bad, but it's not great. Will the GW Tiger find the shot? Probably doesn't have the gun depression. Whizzes over Pedro. Shuts him down with another heat round. He probably could have got away with a high explosive round there, but that's probably the last thing on his mind as he secures the Radley Walters and is trying to take down this tough carry for his team, which was 1 versus 4. And if we take the self-propelled gun out of the situation, then Pedro would be going for a Colabanos medal. So Pedro cheekily asks the E100 on the enemy team, "Where are you?" with only 1 minute and 17 seconds left on the game. But it looks like the E100 has made his whereabouts known, again revealing the last secret, shall we say, or shall we say the last piece of this puzzle, this carry puzzle that Pedro is trying to put together. So the E100 actually doesn't have enough time to cap. So I guess what the E100 is doing is just luring Pedro into coming after him. I guess he doesn't want to draw, he'd rather take his chances to get the win. Now Pedro can take a shot, it doesn't matter what the E100 does. Pedro can take a shot, unless of course he sets him on fire. Now that would be quite a heartbreak at the end of this game. 38 seconds left, the E100 misses his shot. Pedro just walk up to him and absolutely shut him down at the end of the game. There you go, great result. Heat round going through the front of the E100's turret. 12,263 damage done and 9 kills. What an incredible carry here in the Grille 15. Just to put this into perspective, this was the highest damage game ever in the Grille 15 centimeter in the last 3 months, and one of the highest damage games of all time. All the 12k plus rounds are absolutely incredible within their own right, and it was made all the more impressive with the fact that Pedro only lost 3 of his hit points this game. Should we line up an entire another team for you, Pedro? It doesn't look like you're quite done carrying here. So Pedro has secured a Radley Walters medal for his 9th kill of this game, the high caliber medal, and boy, what a high caliber this medal was, doing over 4 times the amount that anyone else on his team was able to achieve, with many tanks doing 0, even tier 10 vehicles at the bottom. In true Grille 15cm fashion, Pedro picked up a tank sniper medal. Wonder how much of that was over 300 meters? 4,882, which means that he still did over 7,500 damage within 300 meters. And a lot of that was due to the ambushes that Pedro set up for his enemy team, something that you have to do if you want to master the Grille. And Pedro's play at the end of the game was absolutely lovely, being able to get the long-range engagement against the FV215B, took him out before he could return fire, and secured that defender medal. So apart from the 1,615 base experience points this game was, he also managed to secure 36,000 credits profit after resupplying the chocolate and all of that heat ammunition that he was forced to fire at his opponents that he pretty much didn't need, especially on the artillery. So Pedro, thank you so much for uploading this on the replays.QuickyBaby.com website. It truly was a flawless example of how to play the Grille 15cm. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to see more awesome Grille 15cm action, then simply click through up here or use that more info icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to see a monster round on Prokhorovka. And let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the Grille 15cm. Now that we've had it for 3 months, do you think that it's overpowered? Do you think it needs nerfing a little bit? Or do you think it's in about a right place? What would you rather was in the game when you were facing it on the enemy team? Would you rather be facing a Grille, or would you rather be facing the old WT Alfie 100? And do you think that the change has made the World of Tanks ecosystem a better or worse place? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.